There are moments in life when everything seems to fall apart, when certainties crumble, when paths dissolve beneath your feet, and what once made sense now feels distant, almost strange. It is as if the world has changed languages, and suddenly you no longer know how to translate your own existence. In those moments, the instinct is to call it a crisis, a failure, an end. But perhaps it is only the beginning. Because sometimes, losing yourself is the only way to find yourself. You are not lost, you are just awakening. There is a silent instant between who we were and who we are becoming, and in that space discomfort lives. The body wants to run, the mind wants answers, the heart wants to understand why nothing fits anymore. But awakening is not gentle. It is the sound of old structures collapsing, the echo of past versions of you screaming not to die. Awakening is watching yourself dissolve, only to be reborn again. You feel the ground disappear because the old ground no longer serves you. The job, the dreams, the people, even your tastes, everything seems too small for the size of the soul that is emerging. And it is natural that it hurts. The butterfly also suffers when leaving its cocoon. What once was a shelter now feels like a prison. The confusion you feel is only the sign that you are crossing a portal, from what you thought you were to what you truly are. The problem is that we were taught to fear not knowing. Since childhood, we learned that losing control is failure, that changing our mind is weakness, that doubting is dangerous. So when life takes away the map, we panic. We try to fix, to understand, to explain. But awakening does not fit into explanations. It must be felt. It is the heart remembering the path that the mind forgot. There comes a moment when everything seems to stop. Time slows down. Plans lose color, even the mirror reflects someone different. It feels as if part of you has died, while another part is still learning how to breathe. And in a way, that's exactly what it is. Awakening is a symbolic death, the death of the old self, the version that lived to please, to fit in, to be accepted. And at the funeral of that version, the authentic being is born, the one who doesn't need applause to exist. Awakening is solitary, but it is not loneliness. It is the universe calling you for an intimate conversation. It is when you sit with your own silence and realize that it is not empty. It is full of answers. The outer world will seem louder than ever. Voices will try to pull you back to what's familiar, to what's comfortable, but something inside you already knows there is no return, because once you awaken, you can never again sleep in the same dream. Maybe you'll look back and no longer recognize yourself. Old ambitions lose their shine, desires change color, and that's frightening, because when everything changes inside, the outside world must reorganize itself. Relationships, habits, beliefs, everything will be tested. But remember, chaos is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of clarity. It is the space between destruction and reconstruction. Awakening demands courage. Courage to take off the masks, to face your own shadow, to say no to everything that no longer resonates with who you are. And above all, courage to live without answers, for a while, because emptiness, before it is frightening, is fertile. It is there that the new begins to form. When you release what no longer is, you create space for what will be. There are days when awakening feels light, almost luminous. Others, it weighs like a storm. There are tears, fear, confusion. But at the same time, there is an inner whisper saying, keep going. You are remembering. Because awakening is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you have always been. It is tearing apart the scripts the world gave you and writing your own story, with your own voice. You may feel lost, but you are exactly where you need to be. Every discomfort is an invitation. Every uncertainty, a bridge. Every loss, a disguised liberation. Life is not punishing you, it is repositioning you. And the more you try to return to the old, the more your soul pushes toward the new. Because there is a version of you that the universe is asking to be born, and it only appears when the old collapses. Think about this. The seed must break to germinate. The cocoon must shatter for the butterfly to exist. Awakening is that breaking, painful but necessary. What you feel now is the sound of the shell cracking, and what comes after is flight. But to fly, you must trust. Trust that there is purpose, even in silence. That confusion is part of the process. That what feels like loss is actually liberation. The universe does not take away what is yours, only what no longer serves your growth. Everything that leaves does so because it no longer fits the frequency of the new you. Awakening is also a call to slow down. The mind wants to rush to understand, but the soul whispers, feel. What you are living cannot be solved with haste, but with presence. Breathe, observe, allow yourself to feel everything. The answers do not come from outside, they come from the silence between one thought and another, and in that silence, you will realize there is no mistake in being lost. It's only the name the mind gives to the act of expanding. When the soul grows, the old frames break, and it's natural not to know where to place the pieces. But with time, confusion turns into clarity, and pain turns into direction. What once seemed like an ending reveals itself as the beginning of a new path. You are not breaking, you are opening. You are not falling, you are returning to your origin. And when the awakening ends, you understand, you were never lost, you were simply being called back home, the inner home. That place where nothing is missing, where everything makes sense, where love depends on nothing external to exist. So next time you feel chaos, take a deep breath and remember, this too is awakening, the universe shaking you, reminding you of who you are. Let the old certainties fade away. Let the old versions die, because what comes after is more real, more light, more you. You are not lost, you are simply finding yourself, and that encounter is the greatest awakening of all.